Hear the sound, the angels come screaming down your voice. I hear you've been bleeding. Take your choice. They say you've been bleeding. Someone save us now. Help us now. You're crashing down. We hear the sound as you're falling down. There's no hotel, but I can't tell if I've been breathing or sleeping or screaming or waiting for the man to call it maybe out of the crowd. 'Cause mostly I've been sprawled on these cathedral steps while spanging the blood and screaming. Someone save us help us now. Come crashing down. We hear the sound as you're falling down. Will you pray for me or make a saint of me? Will you lay for me? Make a search, 'cause I'll give you all the nails you need. Cover me in gasoline, wipe away those tears of blood again. And the punchline to the joke is asking someone save us. Help us now. Come crashing down. We hear the sound as you fall. And would you pray or make a sense you don't so great? And will you pray for my sins or make a saint? 'Cause I'll give you all the nails you need. Cover me in gasoline again.
Okay, is it on? Check. 1 2 1 2. Yep,
Yeah.
the mic's on. Bop bop bop. Hello. Okay, yes, we are on air. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the weekly installment of Yes, I'm Still Emo.
What are we doing next week?
It still is. The radio show where I disappoint my parents, where we disappoint our
You always
parents.
forget that there are more people here.
I forget there's more than one. It's a plural we, but it's disappointing my parents at the end of the
Can
day.
you, like, pick me up from over here? Barely.
Barely. Do you want to, like... Here, Bobby, you want to slide?
Oh.
Yeah. Is that okay? You got this?
All
You got
right, am I picking up?
You're picking up. Am I picking up?
Yeah,
yeah.
you're picking up, obviously.
I'm loud. I'm Jewish.
Am I? I'm still, like, barely picking up anyway.
You're always soft on these recordings. It can still hear you most of the time when I check them.
Yeah. I'm just...
You're here, and we appreciate you. We care you. Elliot, we care you. But welcome back to Yes, I'm Still Emo. We are at our third installment of Explain Unholyverse. We just listened, if you were listening to the music, we were listening to Heaven Help Us, a song from the B-side tracks of
The
Black Parade, which also happens to be the title of part 3. We are in for juicy. There's a lot of explaining for this one.
Yeah, this one is very eventful.
This one is a total of 68,000 words.
Fuck,
So
shit.
nearly 70,000 words. I don't think I realized that.
Will we be able to get through this in an hour?
No, we won't.
I hope to fuck we can.
Oh, no, I know we can't.
I don't want to.
Well, maybe if we skim over, like,
a lot of it.
We're not going to. Well, we're going to skim over aspects. But yeah, this is part 3. As a refresher for the other 2 parts, Unholyverse is an AU fic where Gerard's a priest, and then Frank, Ray, Mikey, Bob, and Brian all worked, past tense now, at a shop where they were
Doing tattoos, hair, you name it.
tattoos, piercings, hair.
The whole shebang. Probably your taxes.
Brian
Brian doing
Brian. Yeah, I was like, yes, Brian. Brian's there to yell at you. Like, they all worked there. Frank got stigmata. Mikey brought Gerard in, not, like, with the intention of helping Frank, but that's ultimately what happened. There's a lot of sexual tension. There was continued sexual tension. There was sexual tension for a while.
Between Frank and Gerard.
Between
to
Frank and
clarify.
Gerard. Oh my god, yeah. Between Frank and Gerard, and then last chapter.
Also, for new listeners, yes, we are aware that this is a real life.
No.
We're okay.
I hope we get this done this week because I want to talk about the implication.
No, yes, we're going to. Yeah. Part of this conversation is next week, and the following weeks we're going to be talking about the implication of the "this is a real person" fan fiction. We are aware. And that's part of why we're having this discussion. That's why we're having, like, a huge breakdown of... Like, I want to have a breakdown of each part so that we can go into implications and, like, character, like, breakdowns and, like, the culture behind it and the culture behind, like...
Real people in fanfiction in general.
Real people in fanfiction in general, as well as, like, specifically fandom and within, like, this fandom. And My Chemical Romance's stances on fanfiction of them, too.
What's their stance on it?
They actually don't
Positive.
care. Yeah, they actually... No, they're actually like, it's
They're
just our
like-
fans being creative.
Yeah, they're being creative. And I'm like, that's kind of neat.
I mean, they're like, it is kind of weird.
Yeah, they're like, the kind of like okay with it as long as it isn't like
Like a
Mikey
Unholyverse?
and Gerard.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, they're okay unless it's like,
Incest.
yeah, unless it's they're like no, they're just doing their thing as long as they kind of keep it away from us, which is what we're doing because we are not sending this to any of them. Period. End of story.
What if I just find it?
If they find it, that's their problem.
That's their fault. They
That's
dug
their
too far.
They dug too far. They didn't need to find us.
They went to a college radio station.
They found my YouTube page. But yeah, part 3. Okay, breakdown. Gerard's a priest. They solved Frank's stigmata, which ended with trauma. And then they kind of went on the road as
like
a
Scooby-Doo type beat.
I would say the Supernatural Bros more than
Yeah.
Scooby-Doo.
Like I said last week, Gerard is Gabriel.
Okay.
I don't fucking know
I
either.
don't
I
know.
just say that because I think it's funny.
I don't know what that means, and I'm very
Neither do-
glad.
None of us know what that means.
Literally none of us. Even the person making the joke right now, I don't know what the fuck that means, but I'm gonna speak my truth.
You're gonna speak your shit. No.
Fair enough.
Fair enough.
Coffee house snaps.
Fair enough.
Oh my
Fair
God.
enough.
Fair enough.
But we, and then they go on the road. Last episode ended with
Gerard fucking
died.
died.
Gerard Way dies.
This is for my people who just lost somebody. Your best friend, baby, man, or your lady. I'm sorry. For those who don't know, it was for me back in like 2018.
I'm
Oh my
taking
fucking
off.
god, he fucking did.
Oh my god, he fucking did. I'm taking off my
Miss
glasses.
Keisha. Mr. Way.
Mr. Way.
Wait, Father Way. Father Way. Oh my fucking god, he
He's
fucking
fucking
dead.
It's Mikey.
Yeah. Oh my fucking god, he fucking dead.
Oh my fucking god, he's fucking dead. I'm taking off my glasses for this one, just emotionally.
Yeah. Also, Ray and Mikey get it on. In the
Ray
last-
and Mikey fucked.
Wait, oh yeah, they did.
Yeah, and it was like a weird like dissociation. They actually get into it in this next part.
Oh, okay.
There's a whole kind of
conversation
about
about how weird
Frank.
it was.
Yeah, Frank kind of explodes on them.
The thing about that is like, that's good storytelling.
What?
Just like like having the conversation of like having it happen and then having the conversation. That's like a good thing to happen
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
fiction.
No, that's the thing. Like, As We Sexless is a good
Yeah.
writer. And
Yeah.
And
that's
it's like a lot of fan fiction would just like be like, okay, they disassociated and like fucked, but that's not like and then just like leave it at that. But it's not like that's not right.
Yeah, no, exactly. They do.
And
That's
then they address it. It's like what the fuck?
No, yeah, that's why this is so confusing because
that's why part 3 is very important to like unpack.
Okay.
Okay, so why don't we hop into it then?
All right. Yeah.
With that comment, we can hop into it. So it begins with them on the plane on the way to
The Vatican.
The Vatican.
to Italy. You guys just got a free trip to Italy where you'll
Ew.
meet the Pope. Wait, no, they don't meet the Pope.
Imagine getting the
The
free
cardinal.
trip and then it happens
Yeah.
to be going to Italy.
Hey.
I mean, I'll stay at your Italy house with you. Like,
It isn't even. It's not like my
I know,
Italy house.
I know.
It's just the campus's
It's-
Italy
yes,
house. You know.
Living
thing-
lavish.
Living lavish.
Oh, the hedonism.
Oh, the
The
hedonism. But hang on, I just got a text. I need to check it. I just need to make sure it's not something like important. You want to do ASMR into the mic?
no.
Okay, no, it's not an important text. It's not an important text. We're good.
Anyway, that was just me drinking tea. But yeah, it begins with them on the plane to the Vatican because they're like, yo, Gerard's body fucking disappeared and we need your help in figuring out this mystery, Scooby-Doo. And they're like, okay. Frank's kind of like, "Ugh, I'm so mad at the Vatican. Why are they doing this to us? Ugh."
So basically, it starts. Fantastic beginning.
And then Mikey's just like, my brother's not dead.
No, well, basically it starts with, okay, this chapter's in Frank's point of view. We're back to Frank's point of view.
Yeah.
And Frank's, like, having a moment where he's like, I can't fucking sleep. And Mikey, like, also can't sleep. And Mikey kind of just turns to him quietly. And he's like, hey, so Ray and I fucked? And
Frank?
Frank is like, oh?
Oh?
And he takes a minute. He's like, oh, no, I can see it. He's like, oh, okay, he's always had a thing for you, but you don't, like, date people. And Mikey's like, yeah, I don't date people. And it's like a moment where it's like, do. And so they have this, like, little thing where he's like, well, like, what do you want to do about that? And Mikey's like, I want to figure it out. Probably now's not a good time. And they kind of have, like, this moment of silence, where they're kind of sitting there, and, you know, one of them says, do you think he's dead? And the other says, no, I don't think so. But, you know, they're both kind of like, we're just gonna hold on. I need a hero. Holding on for a hero.
It's not time for Shrek right now.
Thank God you got that.
No, yeah, no, and like they just like look at Ray sleeping
Yeah, Ray's just sleeping.
on the
Yeah,
plane.
I just had this thought in the middle.
Wait, what was your
What?
thought? Would you like to share with the class?
Wouldn't like a lot of Shakespeare's work be considered real people fanfiction?
Yeah, no, you're not even fucking wrong.
Oh my God.
No, the thing is, a lot of old like fictions of like that era were real people fan fiction.
Yeah.
Like a lot of it were like historical figures or like whatever, people of the greats.
Julius Caesar.
Julius Caesar was a fan fiction. Homoerotic at best. But a little.
And that's why I'm just kind of like,
Sometimes we do what we need to do. You know, I wrote a real person fan fiction of... I was about to say, like, Princess Diana. I don't know why that was the first person in my head. But I was like, you know, if I were a real person fan fiction, I am in the car with Princess Diana.
I get
And like the Magic Treehouse books, those are
Real person fan fictions, yes.
and like a lot of like historical fiction.
It's very frowned upon despite the fact that
that we literally engage in it all the time.
Hamilton.
Hamilton.
Oh, Hamilton's real.
Fucking Hamilton, my guy. But the difference is, in My Chemical Romance fanfiction, we're not fucking fetishizing slave owners.
Yeah.
I like to.
For
I
a second, I thought you were about to go with Miku Binder, and I was like waiting
Priest
for
Gerard has the Miku binder. They're like, we can't find his body. We need to find it so we get the fucking Miku,
Miku
binder.
binder.
We gotta dig up Gerard so we can find the
the
Mickey
Miku Binder.
Okay. They're in Italy. They
They're in
land.
Italy. They land. They're going to the Vatican. They get there and they're like, woo! You know, it's the Vatican. They get put into a room. That's kind of like a sweet. They kind of
A sweet treat.
a sweet treat. No, it's it's like a nice room. They're put into a nice room. They're kind of sequestered in there. And they're all kind of a little, like, weirded out. They're like, do we trust these guys?
Frank
and they're
still
like,
has the fucking rosary.
Frank still has the rosary. He winds it around his fingers because he's
I
gay.
got as far as that way, I think.
Yeah.
Because he's gay.
Because he's a little homosexual.
He's a little...
You know.
He's
You
just
know.
a little...
Yeah,
For a visual, we're doing the gay hand thing.
the gay hand thing, yes. And then they don't meet with the guy until the next day, right?
Yeah, no.
Yeah. So
They're like, you'll meet with the cardinal in the morning.
In the morning.
Get some rest.
Yeah, they're told to rest. And as per part of this, no, okay. You know, they're all like they rest. Frank that night is kind of like playing with the rosary, and he drops it by the picture of Mary. Like there's like a painting of Mary, and he's there, and he ends up like on his knees in front of it, and Brian finds him, and Brian's like, oh shit, I didn't mean to intrude on you praying, bro. And like Frank's like, and I what? And
Me, an atheist, praying to the Mother Mary? More likely than you think.
So he ends up sitting there with Brian for a minute and like praying, and like they have another moment like, do you think he's alive? And they're like, And so the next morning they're taken to see the cardinal, and the cardinal is kind of like a soft-spoken, kind of like he's kind of described as more kind than they were expecting, in the sense of like he's understanding and not like what I'd imagine a cardinal to be like, in all honesty.
Just a very Catholic man.
Just a very Catholic American.
What?
You know.
You know.
You know how people are American?
You know, people are American. They bring in some tea as the most fucked up tea party ever. That's what they literally described it as in the fic as.
There are fucked up. There are more fucked up ones.
There are more fucked up tea parties. For example, you could shit in the pot. So
We'll move on from that.
we'll move on from there. So they're having tea, and the cardinal's like, "Is there any information you could tell us?" And they're like, "Well, is he dead? Is he alive?" And they're like, "Well," and he tells him, he's like, "Well, actually, this is the point at which they tell him the body's missing. They don't know what's going on until this point that the body is missing. This is when the cardinal says, so we don't have a body." And they're like, "You don't have a what?" And they're like, "So his body was lost in transport, but not like we lost it, but like
It just...
it disappeared."
He
walked
basically
away.
pulled a Jesus
He
on the
pulled-
third day.
He pulled a Jesus on the first day.
No.
No, because it's the first day he's dead.
Alright.
Oh, that was so funny, Ani. Ani, the Jewish kid. Oh, that was.
Flipping the
Oh,
mic.
that was funny. Oh, that was so funny. I'm literally crying, bro. I'm literally crying, bro. You got the whole squad laughing. You got our 2 listeners laughing. I bet they're cracking up in your seats. Oh.
One left.
Our one listener from Indiana. Are you the person from last week too?
They might be. I'm proud of them. I like them.
You're so kind. I love you. I don't know who you
Thank you.
are, but I appreciate you. You make
Wait.
me keep going.
There are comments on Radio WABC.
Yes.
Maybe they're trying to contact us.
What, from Beyond the Dead?
Yeah. Fuck you.
Okay, but so they're there, and they're like, "No, we know what's up," and they're like, "Please." But they got nothing for them, right? Head empty, no thoughts.
Head empty, no thoughts.
Nothing?
No, old. All right. Head empty, no thoughts, and so they're like, "No, we don't have anything," and they kind of tell him everything they know.
And Frank kind of blows up at the.
No, he doesn't. Not yet.
Oh wait, no, he blows up at dinner.
I would like to emphasize that my reread was a re-listen. I listened to it while working. It is a long audiobook.
How long is it?
I think it's like 7 hours.
Fuck me.
For just this section.
Oh
For
my-
just
so
part
like an hour per 10,000 words.
Yeah.
I hate
I
could listen to a whole fucking book. Never mind.
that is a whole book.
No,
This is a whole book.
I know. That's why I didn't read it a week.
I read it in a night.
I don't care.
I'm sorry. All right. because I'm a little, you know.
Hand flapping.
This show supports autistic people.
Because it's hosted by all autistic people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why we're like this.
That's why we're like this. It's because we got a special interest and now we're fucked. Like, I'm fucked.
Yeah.
I think that's why I'm so violently against it, because it is not my special.
It's not your special interest, but you're like, I'm here to kind of listen. Anyway, to not go off on a tangent, because I will. I'll think about
Please.
videos.
No.
Okay, no, yes. Okay, so, they kind of like, they're like, okay, just spend the day here. Thank you for talking to us. We will discuss the rest later. You're gonna come back for dinner. And they're like, well, that's kind of an order, so I guess we will.
And, yeah, so they go back to their
They go back to the room, and then Frank and, Bob and Ray decide kind of go out, like, go see the Vatican, just kind of go and explore, get some fresh air.
Let's be tourists. Just for
Let's be tourists
just for a few hours.
Just a little.
And so they go outside.
They go
and
outside.
then Frank, he sees a familiar face working in the fields.
And he he's trimming some hedges, or he sees this guy trimming hedges. And I think this is one of Beck's list. No, it's not Gerard.
Okay.
No. Because I think this is one of Beck's list's, like, smartest moments.
Pull
Oh
the
my god.
fucking trigger, Bobby.
Pull the trigger.
Open up the motherfucking pit.
Open up the motherfucking
That's what this moment feels like. It's just like being like, open up the motherfucking pit.
So to explain oh my god, I lost her. Okay, here it is. To explain this moment, because I think it's one of Bex's, like, best written moments. He sees this face, and the moment the guy turns and he recognizes him, and he sees it, it's Luke. He has, like, this is the best description of, like, being triggered and having the effects.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
genuinely,
having
like
a
PTSD
genuine D episode.
of, like, how dare I say, like, I'm trying to describe it because it's hard to describe the emotional withdrawal from your body, and, like
your brain going into full panic.
your brain going into full panic. It's this wave of, like, you don't
All adrenaline.
You don't really know what you're doing anymore. You're just acting. Your body is in full control, basically.
Yeah.
But not in like a pure rage way, but in a way in which you're just gone.
Yeah.
And it describes, like, that. There's a very specifically, like, tingling, numb feeling that you get. You know what I mean.
Since yeah, okay. Just like as another
Solidarity.
note for the listeners, we have PTSD.
Another note, we have PTSD. And I like remember I was talking to you about this, like, after I listened to this part again, and I was like, I forgot how well Bexos writes PTSD, because I read it and I go, shit. Because I'm like, oh no, I know that feeling. Which makes me feel bad for Bexless. Because I'm Bexless, I'm so sorry if you also have PTSD then. But it describes him fantastically, and then he flips out and he kind of, like, attacks Luke, but more like grabs him and, like, jars him. And he's, like, shaking him. He's like, don't you fucking know who I am? Don't you understand? Like, what the fuck's going on? Luke doesn't recognize him.
Luke's
in the
just like,
slightest.
please, I'm just attempting to help with the grass.
Yeah, Luke is like, I would like to trim these hedges. and Frank's going him, and he goes to, like, start wailing on him because he doesn't recognize him. And he's like, what the fuck? Stop lying. You know who I am. Stop lying. He's, like, having a breakdown. And they're pulling, Bob and Ray are pulling him off. And they're like,
He doesn't know who you are.
He doesn't know. Stop. And they manage to pull him off. They bring him back to the room. And Frank is, like, still kind of out of it. And they're all kind of talking about it, like, oh my god, holy shit. And Frank's like...
Oh, right, because Luke was taken away by the...
Luke was taken away by the suits, yeah. And he's like, oh my god. And so, later at that dinner, he's trying to be civil first, but he snaps really quickly. And he's like...
Want to talk about why Luke was at the fucking hedges?
He's like,
bro?
You want to explain? And it's interesting because the Cardinal then goes, oh, didn't Fatherway tell you? And they're all like, no, Fatherway never told us. Like, Gerard would never say what happened when they took us away. And the Cardinal's like, he's a little better at keeping secrets than we thought, huh? And they're all like, fuck you. And this, it builds up really quickly to Frank just being like, fuck you. Like, fuck all your hypocrisy, fuck everything here. Why won't you just fucking tell us anything? And you keep him around. He doesn't understand, and he freaks out and he runs.
Mhm.
He's sprinting away, and he runs down to, like, outside
In like this little alleyway.
in this little alleyway, and he runs into someone who kind of grabs him, and it's one of the hoods
Oh.
from the
from the
last chapter.
chapter.
One of the dudes from the Fall Out Boy concert.
One of the Fall Out Boy stands. I'm gonna you're okay.
Sorry yet.
Didn't I tell you anything? Yeah. So he runs into him, and he kind of like they're fighting.
Mhm.
And as all the other guys are coming, there's like there's more like hoods coming in. I feel like this is just like Bobby and Ani describe Unholyverse to Elliot hour. Like that's what it becomes. So they start a fight, and there's like punching, and there's blood, and Ray's kind of going ham, and Bob's going ham, and Frank's kind of trying to go ham, and Mikey cannot go ham. Because he's Mikey. And he's maybe 90 pounds soaking wet. And so
Oh my god.
and so they're fighting, and all of a sudden they're asking them, they're like, where is the resurrected? And they're like, what the fuck do you mean the resurrected? Then suddenly there is a beam of light. Like at the concert, but it's coming down. And who stumbles out?
Jesus fucking Christ.
It's Gerard!
Jesus fucking Christ. He was abducted by aliens.
No, he wasn't.
No, I know.
Oh, the religious implications.
Oh, the religious implications. Oh, to be Jesus.
Oh, to be Jesus.
Um,
Before he comes, flying on a cloud, light a ray of sun, It's a song. It's a song. It's a religious song about the return of Jesus.
I was going to say I've never heard of it, but
Behold, he
clearly I've never
comes,
heard of it.
Flying from a
Oh
cloud.
my god.
Bobby,
So, Gerard stumbles out, and he pretty much passes out pretty soon after. They manage to get him away. Frank grabs Mikey's broken glasses all around, because the arm is wobbly. And they run back with him to the Vatican. The suits come really quickly, and they're like, no, we'll take care of the hoods. And then they rush Gerard back, and Gerard is asleep for a while, and when he wakes up, they're all like, they start doing tests on him before he like wakes up, just to make sure that he's alive. And they're like, yeah, he's alive, we just don't know when he'll wake up. And they're all vibing in the room with him, and when he wakes up, they're all kind of like alone, in the sense of like it's just the guys and Gerard.
Just the boys.
Just the gang. And when Gerard wakes up, they all have like this big moment of like, oh my god, he's back. They're hugging him, and Frank doesn't know what to do at first, because Frank is having this like internal conflict. He's like, last time I saw him, we kind of fought. We kind of kissed before we fought, but we fought.
Angry makeout session.
Angry makeout session. Oh, that comes later.
Oh yeah. Anyway, we need to speed this up so
Anyway,
we can get to it.
Okay, so they have like, there's this all big reunion moment, and when like Frank, when he first starts talking to Gerard, he kind of snaps at him. He's kind of like, he gets angry at him for pushing him out of the way. He gets angry. He's like, why would you like?
Why did you let me die,
Why didn't
fucker?
exactly like why wasn't it me? And Gerard's like,
You know I'm fucking suicidal.
yeah, he's like, hey. And they end up like getting angry and then hugging, and like they're holding on to each other for a hot sec,
For
right?
a little too long.
A little too long. It's homoerotic.
really?
Yeah.
I would have never guessed.
You know, you never know with this one, you know? And so...
Bexless is just chock full of surprises.
But Bexless surprises us at every turn.
Just coming out of their pocket like, hoo hoo, hee hee, pixie dust. Hoo hoo,
For us.
for us.
And so... Yeah, it goes on to... Sorry, my brain just went... So eventually, like, the cardinal and everyone comes in, and everyone has to leave except for Gerard and Mikey. And when they are brought back in, when it's just them, they're like, yeah, they want us to leave. We can't talk to him anymore. Gerard needs to be under observation, and it's, you know, everyone's kind of left them alone, and they're like, no, fuck it. We're running. Gerard's like, no, I'll leave. Gerard's like, get me out of here. So they end up being able to smuggle him out of the Vatican somehow.
Okay.
And get him to the airport. He doesn't have
Are
a
the-
Oh,
passport.
he has a passport. Brian has his passport.
Oh.
But it doesn't have, like, a
A
stamp
stamp.
into Italy.
Hmm.
It just has the stamp. It doesn't have that. So they're like, that's going to be hard to do. And so what ends up happening is Gerard goes off with, like, the security and then comes back, like, 15 minutes later. And it's like, no, I got it. And they're like, what? And it isn't, like, explained, which is crucial to the plot, that it isn't explained. Gerard's like, yeah, no, they just kind of let me go. And they're like, that's weird, but we're going to get on the plane as fast as humanly
so
possible.
Are the Vatican looking for them for the rest of the thing? Okay.
Yeah. This doesn't, the up until, like, the climax of this,
Indiana left.
up until the climax of this, there isn't much, like, it isn't that much time. It's maybe, like, 3 days, 2 days?
Jesus
Yeah.
fucking Christ. Okay, keep going.
Well, the build up here. No. So they they are going they go home, they get in. When they're there, they're like, oh fuck, we're still missing the stamp into Italy. What are they gonna say? It takes Jordan even less time to talk to them, and they're good to go, and they go. And Craig ends up, like, housing them. He's like, yeah, no, you know, I've got a car, we'll pick you up. You know, he brings them a van. He sends them a van, picks them up and brings them to his house.
Mm-hmm.
And so they kind of, like, camp out there. And oh, I forgot to mention, on the plane ride there, Gerard's neck is a little itchy. It's, like, weird around, like, his collar and his cross.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, it's like a little bit of a rash. And they're like, Vatican starches. He takes off. I think he takes off his collar and he
does.
takes off his cross because it's just irritating him. And, you know, Gerard and Mikey are holding onto it or something. Not Gerard, Frank and Mikey are holding onto it or something. And they get to his house. They kind of section off room-wise. And they have, like, a bit of a tense moment. It's a little tense. Gerard and Mikey are sharing a room, and Ray and Frank are sharing a room, just to get a mental separation. Frank ends up tiptoeing in on listening to Mikey and Gerard's conversation, which I don't remember entirely what it's about, because I think I was working in the wood shop when I was listening to this part, and I was like, whoo, gluing some wood and stapling. Like, I wasn't, like, fully listening, but if I remember correctly, it was just kind of about, like, Gerard's feelings, and Mikey kind of asks him, like, where he went when he died, and Gerard doesn't remember. He's having a moment. He's like, no, I don't remember. I don't know what's going on, and he's freaking out a little, and Frank's having, like, a little part where he's, like, internally being like, I don't know how comprehend the situation because, like, we last fought. We're still kind of tense. Like, there's still, like, a discomfort there. And as he's there in the hall, Craig comes up. He's like, yo, we have breakfast. Like, I think y'all might want to eat,
Eat some goddamn
food. Yeah. I got another text. Hang on.
So they go downstairs.
Go downstairs, they eat, they're kind of vibing around, they're trying to figure out what the fuck's going on. It's something from Miles. It's a meme. I'll show y'all later. And so they're kind of vibing around, they're trying to figure out what the fuck happened. And he kind of mentions that, oh yeah, we have a lot of grounds. He's like, no, we have a lot of grounds. You can do a lot of things here as you're hiding out. Oh, Gerard says that he wants to call the Vatican, and he kind of walks off and, like, quickly comes back because they get their bags and everything. He quickly walks off, and he comes back relatively soon after. He's like, oh, we only talked for a minute, but, you know, he'll call me back later. And so they go to explore the, Gerard, Mikey, and Ray go to explore the grounds a bit as Frank, Bob, and Brian are like staying there. And they all kind of, the three of those go out to have a smoke because they're all like, oh, finally a break. And as they're standing outside, Gerard, Mikey, and Ray, well, Gerard and Mikey are carrying Ray back. Ray's soaked because he has caves. Like, it's mentioned that on Craig's like grounds, there's like caves for spelunking, and like there's a river like going through his land. And they're dragging Ray back, and his hands are bloodied, and they're like, oh my god, what happened? And it says, and they're saying that, oh, Ray said that he couldn't see Mikey while Mikey went down, but Mikey was right there, and for some reason Ray thought he was drowning, so Ray went into the water to try to save him, but Ray can't swim, so
Looks like he's going for a swim.
Looks like he's going for a swim.
Jump on him.
But he can't swim, so he almost drowned, and they had to like Mikey dragged him out, had to give him, like, they gave him CPR, and they were trying to save him. Like, he's fine now. He's just...
Kind of like, whoa, I almost died.
I almost died. My hands are bloodied, and he can't use his hands right now. Mm-hmm. They're fucked.
And Mikey's just like, Gerard just kind of stood there and watched.
Well,
like...
he doesn't say that yet.
Oh, yeah. Not yet, but he does later.
He gets that, yeah. He, it's a few minutes later, and Mikey's kind of looking at him weird, and they have him inside, they're cleaning him off, and Mikey pulls Frank outside. He's like, something weird is going on. Gerard is off. They're like, what do you mean? And Frank's like, I don't know what you mean. Of course, Frank's a little like, my baby. And Mikey's, no, something's off. He didn't come in to save Ray. He didn't come in to save me either. He just kind of stood there. And Frank's like, what do you mean? Just kind of stood there.
Just kind of like stood there.
And he just stood there, yeah. And he's like, something's off. I don't know what's going on, but there's something wrong with Gerard. Gerard comes out at this moment, and he's like, what's going on? Like, Mikey, what? And Mikey's like, he's like, I love you, bro, but like, something's off. And like, Gerard's getting really offended, and Rank. So Rank is Frank. Ray and Frank's ship name is a Rank.
Oh my god.
Frank's getting really defensive for him. I'm just gonna close my laptop. Frank's getting defensive for him, and all of a sudden, as they're about to like kind of fight a little, Mikey has like a moment where he's like, and you know how Mikey can kind of sense things? It's mentioned in the fact Mikey can sense things. He senses that he senses the hood's coming to the house. So they all kind of like pile in, and they're like, no, we believe you. And then they go and check Craig's like security cameras, and surely enough, the hood's starting to approach. Tattoo stuff. The hoods are starting to approach, and so they go to Gerard in like a little like safe room, not the safe room as in like a large like emergency.
It's about 3 inches, right?
For 3 inches? Wait, 3 inches?
Yeah.
3 inches. Yeah.
3 inches? Is it?
Oh no, that's about the same size.
Is this like about 2 inches?
Yeah, I think that's about 2 inches.
Okay.
Sorry, Bobby has a tattoo business that we're trying to work on right now. but they put him in. It's kind of like it's actually just like a safe, like an actual safe for his golf clubs. They're like, it's only for a second, but it's as Mikey has to do the magic concoction for Ray. Basically, the force field that they built last episode to switch out Pete and which was with technically Gerard at the end of the time, but it was originally going to be Ray. The force field that they're building, he's going to build that around the house and burn the signal that they have like tattooed on them into the ground so that they're safe in there. So they have to hide Gerard in case the hoods come in this time. And Frank goes in with him to, like, Gerard kind of drags him in, right? And it's tight. And it's funny because, what is it? One of them's, I think Frank's claustrophobic and Gerard's afraid of the dark. And they're kind of, like, right there. There's, like, a whole scene, like, a very, like, in-depth description of hand-holding. Like, hands brushing hands, like, and I, as a gay person, am, like, living. I'm like, if this is better than any porn I could ever read, oh my god, they're brushing hands.
I hate you.
I want you to know that in every single one of my fanfictions, there's graphic depictions of hand-holding.
Yeah.
I've had friends of mine just be like, I think it's funny to read your fics. There's always going to be one section where it's like 6 paragraphs about holding hands.
Anyway.
I am the reason people are homophobic.
Yeah.
I know. I deserve it. Anyway, so,
Just a little homophobic.
right before they might, perhaps smooch, maybe smooch.
Just a smooch, just one.
Just a kiss.
Beso.
It stops. And the door opens, and it's Craig, and he's like, no, we have this, it's burned in, we're good, we're safe. They're like, woo! Woo! Okay. And as they're, oh god, I'm just realizing how long this chapter is. I'm, like, going through my head. I know, no, I'm going a little faster now. They go in, and, they get out, they're like, okay, so now we're safe. They're kind of trying to talk about, okay, how do we, like, keep ourselves safe in here in case they come and attack, come and try. And they go look at the security camera, and they see that they're kind of standing, like, outside in a ring. Like, they have a ring around the property. But they're not crossing it, and it seems like the barrier's working. Okay. And Bob's like, my axe is not sharp because fucking Pete Wentz used it on some shit. I swear to God, it's not sharp enough. And, Craig is like, okay, the way we can sharpen it in the garage. Let's go in. And Gerard, Bob, and Craig go into the garage. And, all of a sudden, like, after a minute or two, they start hearing like the fire alarm go off, and like Frank is running after Ray and Mikey, and he comes into the room and sees the 3 of them trying to pry open the door. 3 isn't Gerard's there too. Gerard's trying to pry open the door with them when Frank gets there. And he sees them trying to open the door. Bob's on the other side, like, it's on fire. The garage is on fire. And they're freaking out. They're trying to get the door open. Brian smashes open the door. Or not smashes open the door, but smashes open the glass on the door to get in. There's like are you fucking kidding? There's like a moment in this fic, I'm like, are they gonna try to make Bob and Brian a thing? They don't.
Okay.
They even make a comment a little later where they're like, Jesus Christ, how do you guys find time for all this shit of fucking around? But they don't. Thank God. But like, Brian's yelling at him, he's like, you fucking ass. And then, Craig's in there, and so they're trying to get the door open, they're trying to get in, and they dump out a bunch of keys, and they're Mikey's sifting through them, and at the last moment, Gerard picks up, and he's like, here, try this one, and that opens the door, right? And so they get in, and so they get the door open. Sorry, my brain just kind of, they get the door open, they get in, they get Craig out. Craig's, like, winded from it, and he's like, that was not awesome. After saying awesome 80 times throughout everything, but he's like, that wasn't awesome.
That wasn't awesome.
That wasn't awesome. And they kind of get them out. They're all kind of, like, winded and puffing, and Bob's leg caught on fire. So he's having a moment. It's not looking great. So he's kind of out of commission physically in that way. And Mikey freaks out while they're all sitting there. And he's like, Gerard, you weren't trying to open the door when we got there. And Frank's like, what do you mean? I saw him trying to open the door. And Mikey's like, no. And, like, they're all sitting in the living room. Gerard's there too. And he's freaking out. He's like, no, Gerard, you weren't trying to open the door. Like, that wasn't working, right? And he's like, I don't understand. I don't know what you mean. And they get into a big fight. There's a big, like, screaming match. I believe this is the part where, because, like, Mikey starts yelling at Gerard, and this is the part where Frank kind of goes off and starts yelling at them, at Mikey, for kind of, like, freaking out at Gerard. And this is the point where Frank is like, you know, you let Toro kind of take advantage of you, because Mikey says, like, something along the lines of, like, you just letting, like, your feelings get in the way right now. Like, you're not seeing straight, you're not understanding, like, something's wrong here. And he's like, well, you kind of, your feelings with Ray get in the way. Ray is hurt, and, like, you know, you kind of let that happen. Like, you didn't have a conversation about that, you just kind of fucked him. And it's a little gay catty for a moment. And Frank runs after Gerard, who's kind of, like, crying in the bedroom. And Gerard's a little off. And he ends up, like, they have a moment where they're kind of, like, crying and sitting there. And Gerard's like, everyone is making me...
We have to finish this book.
Jesus?
No. Okay.
Can I have my glasses back? Sorry, you wanna go? Okay, no, you can go. Alright, Bobby's gotta go. He's got stuff. Do you wanna wait outside, or are you gonna take a shuttle back? I don't want you walking alone. You sure? Do you want to go with him? Okay. Please be safe.
You safe, Bobby?
I'll text you when we're done, alright? You're gonna go upstairs to... Where are you going?
I'll probably just head up to your dorm.
Okay. I just want to make sure you're good after this.
Sorry.
That's alright. No, it's alright.
Are you gonna finish it?
Yeah, we are.
Okay.
Bye, Bob.
Bye, Bob.
Talk about Demon Gerard for me.
Alright, go.
Bye, we love you.
Bye, love you.
Bye.
We might have to just split this episode into two.
I don't want to
at the
do
end of the day.
that.
No, okay, I'll finish describing it. Alright, so, we're having a moment where Gerard is kind of like, oh no, baby, they're gonna separate us. The church doesn't want me here with you. And, he ends up crawling into Frank's lap, and they're having, like, this, like, little, like, they're gonna try to turn me against you, like, Gerard's kind of, like, seductively whispering in his ear. He's like, they're gonna try to turn you against me. Like, they don't want us together. They don't want us to be a thing.
So is Gerard, like, possessed or something?
We get to that, but yeah. And Frank is kind of love blind. He's like, I'm not gonna let them do that to you, baby. You're my sugar pie. You're my honey bean. And so he pulls him onto his lap, and they start kissing. They kissing. And Gerard admits during this little soiree in the room that he didn't call Vatican. Yeah, go figure. And Frank's a little, like, stunned by this, but he's really enthralled at this point, and he's like,
really
he's really horny, and Gerard's right there going to town on him, and he's like, no, I got this. And what ends up coming, like, they're stopped by a knock at the door. He gets up, and it's Mikey, and he's like, look, I've come in to apologize to Gerard, right? He's like, I feel like shit, let me talk to my brother. And Frank's like, okay. So he leaves them alone for a minute, and he goes and finds Gerard's phone during this time, and he goes to plug it in, because he's like, it's off. You know, I might as charge it. And the moment it's charged enough, it starts ringing.
Oh.
And it's the Vatican.
Yeah.
It's the Cardinal. It's an unknown number. It's the Cardinal calling him, and the Cardinal's like, Father Way. And Frank's like, no, this is Frank. Uh, and they're like, oh, good. He's on their way with you. He's like, I'm not going to tell you shit. They're like, no. Give us a moment. So, it seems like something's wrong. He ran off. We want to know he's safe and kind of need to know where he is. And he's like, well, I'm not going to tell you where he is. And the cardinal's like, let me just say, like, we didn't tell you this, but the other symbol on the sphera, which is, like, the ball.
Mhm.
Yeah. The other symbol was demonic. And Zeraphim? It's the name of a demon. He brings up the name of a demon, and he says the name, and Frank just kind of hangs up because someone comes in the room. And they're like, I think the kids are out there. Like, or the kids are in with the hoods.
Mhm.
And they're like, shit, we need a rescue mission. So they end up going to go do that. They're like, okay, shit, we're gonna go and get the kids and bring them back and, like, take care of them, right? And they kind of hatch up this mission to go paint on the symbols, because they need the symbols to be able to enter in and exit out. Like, that's the only way in and out.
Mhm.
And so Mikey and Gerard are kind of like, they're buddy-buddy. They're sitting there. They're like, okay, we can do this. You know, it's fine. Gerard's staying there. And so they go. I think it's just like Frank, Brian, Craig's driving. I think Ray might be with them.
Mhm.
No, I think it might just be the three of them. No, someone else might be. I don't remember. But basically, they go out. They open the van door. Brian's beating off the hoods as they drag the two kids in. Brian's like the car's getting rocked. Frank is painting the symbols on them.
Mhm.
And they manage to drive off with the kids. And they're kind of taken to the safe room the moment they get there,
Mhm.
because there's like, I forget what it is, but something happens with Gerard, and they're like, oh no. They get there, and the kids are like, and Gerard's like, oh, thank God you're safe, you're here. They're like, yeah, and we brought you guys something, and they take out one of the sphera.
I thought you were gonna say they took out one of the kids, and I'm like, what the fuck?
No. The kids take out a sphera,
Mhm.
right? And Gerard kind of goes a little stiff, and he goes and picks it up, and he turns to Craig and the kids, and he, like, in like this kind of weird voice, he kind of tells them, like, take away the kids, like, take them far away from here. They're like, what? And he throws the ball at the wall, and it shatters in this kind of like dust mist haze. And he starts screaming and contorting and like folding
Gerard?
up. Yeah, Gerard.
Okay.
He's like full possession moment basically. It breaks. And they run off and take the kids to the safe house. Craig takes them to the safe room, which is like massive. It turns out they're huge. It's a huge house. And so they kind of get hold of Gerard, and it is very clearly a demon.
Mhm.
Surprise! Frank's like, oh, the Vatican kind of told me. They're like, the Vatican told you what? He's like, but I thought he was sexy. So, like, and so, like, they have him held up, and they're like, he's kind of like snarling, and he's like, I'm gonna die, I'm gonna kill you all. He's a nasty little bug, but he's kind of sexy while he does this. Like, I have to say, it's one of those, it's not like all snarling, like, that's towards the end, kind of like a sexy, like,
No, the poses.
I'm doing, like, I can't even describe
Like
the poses.
very like lackluster pinup poses.
Yes.
You know?
I feel like lackluster pinup pose is, like, my aesthetic, period. My aesthetic is lackluster pinup pose. And so, there's, like, this moment, they kind of get him held down, and they're like, well, shit. And so Frank's like, Mikey, I'm so sorry, and then he's like, don't fucking say it. And they get him tied up. They tie him up, like,
Yeah.
with rope.
I just opened my phone to this.
Is that the group chat?
Yeah.
Hate
These bitches.
these bitches so much. Doll Hub.
Oh, you can't.
I can't look at it because it's flashy. Another night in Why did I almost say my full name? You know what? I'll say it anyway. Anna East almost has a seizure.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. And so I don't know why I went for my full name. Sometimes it's for the drama.
The drama.
And so they kind of like get him tied up, and Brian's like, and Demon Gerard's like spitting all these things against everyone, and he's like, you know, Ray, you're horny. Mikey, fuck you. He's just getting angry at all of them.
Yeah.
He's like, Frank, you're sexy. Like, it's like part of it. He's like, and like the only one he doesn't have beef with is Brian, and Brian's like, look, I'll keep watch of him. Y'all go research.
Why doesn't he hate Brian?
Because he doesn't have much to say to Brian. He's
Brian's
Brian
that
there.
plain.
Yeah, he's that plain that he's like, Brian, you're here. And so they all go to research while Brian's watching him, right? And they all like have a moment.
Oh, look at this art. Fucks.
Oh, that's sexy. Starts with a Z if you're looking for them.
Yeah, I am looking for it.
I mean, I could pull it up on my laptop because
No.
I've got the fic pulled up, but I don't have the energy. And so they go to do the research, and they find that he is. I think it might be XA.
Yeah,
Zayfan?
Yeah.
Zayfan. Yeah. Zayfan. Because they go into that now, they realize that he is the demon of like flames and fire. He's the one who fanned the flames of like yada yada. It's with an X.
Yeah, I know. I'm just looking. Yeah.
That, you know, then they were like, oh, okay, so the fire, they realized that he used Bob's lighter to set the garage on fire, which turned out it wasn't the whole garage. It was like a weird single patch just around them. They realized that demons kind of like warp perceptions and like make people believe that something's not there, like make people invisible, like he did with Mikey, and had Ray kind of like warped perception that he should jump in, warped perception of the people to let him into on the plane, like that kind of stuff. He messed with Frank, and Frank feels like shit because he's like, oh, I thought he was sexy. I thought he wanted me. He wanted me in my body. But then they're like, Frank, no, don't be yourself. Frank's like, and then they realize they're kind of like going through their names and like their patron things because it kind of correlates. They're like, wait, hang on, but what is Brian's? Well, Brian's is a martyr.
Wait, what are the others?
Bob's, one of his saints, I think, like, lost a leg. Like, there was something with that. You know, Ray, like, Frank got the stigmata, like, Frank's of Assisi. Michael Michael the Archangel has, like, visions, I guess. I don't know, that's what Mikey has. Like, they're like, talking about that, and they're like, oh.
What's Ray's?
I think it connects. I can't remember how it connects. Like, it does connect. I just forgot how. And so they're like, shit, Brian's a martyr.
Oh.
Who's hanged.
Oh.
Yeah. So they go in, and guess who's hanging?
Oh.
And this is the only part, I think this is one of the only parts in the fic that isn't realistic, because they get him down, and they do CPR, and he eventually comes back, like, after a lot of it, but I actually know someone who survived, hanging, and, well, I know a couple people, because of Mom's work. You're really fucked up after it, like, bodily. You're usually in a coma for a while and then use a lot. It fucks your brain. Like, you are, and so he kind of comes out, and he's a little messed up, like, physically, but he isn't enough. Like, he's a little, like, out of breath and a little, like, scraggly, but, like, he isn't nearly as fucked up as he should be, but I'm gonna give this to Bexless. Like, you need to keep him alive, I guess.
Well, how long was he hanging for?
They don't know, but they were out for a little while.
Oh.
Like, it seems like it would be enough. Even though if you are hanging at the wrong angle, you can be hanging there before you eventually die for a little while. physics, woo. How the body next. Usually, if you're gonna go fast, your neck snaps, but sometimes it isn't that. It's just strangulation. And it takes, I think, 2 minutes, 2 to 5 minutes, if I remember correctly, for a human to fully strangle without, like, lack of oxygen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It takes a while. I just know it takes a while for a person to strangle another person.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the same kind of, like, continuous pressure. Which is why strangulation cases are usually passion crimes. Yep. I like that. I'm just like, anyway, welcome to the radio show. Let's talk about crimes of passion. Anyway.
Yeah, no, it's fun.
It is neat. I think it's neat.
Yeah, it is. True crime's neat.
True crime's neat. But so they have him, and he's like, well, I'm alive, I guess. They're like, well, shit, where's Gerard? And they look at the monitors, and he's kind of pacing around the house, and he's trying to check for weak spots in the protective spell. And Ray's like, he's not gonna find any, but fucker can, might as well try. And at least, Craig and the boys are in the safe room, and they're fine. They're safe. And so they're like, shit, we need to figure out what to do. And they all kind of camp out in that room. And eventually, Frank's kind of sent out to go, like, they call the car, I was about to call him the cardigan, the cardinal, and he's like, no, we're on our way, just keep him there until we get there, because we're gonna need to exorcise him, which a lot of people don't survive.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Historically, people don't survive exorcisms.
Yeah.
Because they're just prolonged forms of torture. Yeah,
exactly. And so they're like, oh, well, fuck. And so Frank eventually goes into the kitchen where Gerard's kind of like in the corner and he slinks out. And this is another sexy demon Gerard moment where he kind of like pushes up against him and he's trying to seduce Frank to get him at her. He's like, you know what I like about you, Frankie? You don't listen. You're a bad. He doesn't say you're a bad boy, but it's kind of like, I like that you're a bad boy. But no, he starts talking about in Gerard's perception. He's like, Gerard thinks highly of you. He really likes you, and I can tell. And it's kind of like the demon's king through that, and Frank's like standing there. He's like, all right, he's pressing up against me. It's kind of sexy, but like
kind of sexy though.
And Demon Gerard hatches a plan to try to get Frank to get him out of there. Right, and Frank's like, okay. He's like, okay, baby, I'll be right back. I'm gonna paint a little symbol on you so we can leave and run away together, right? And so he comes back with the paint.
Yes.
And goes to paint it on him. And as before he's about to finish, like, Demon Gerard's like, alright. And right before he finishes, and the paint's, like, making his neck crack. It's like, yeah, he's like, well, you got one thing right. And Gerard's like, what do you mean? He's like, well, I don't listen. And he pushes the cross into cracking neck.
Ooh.
And the rest of the guys kind of come out and they kind of spring on him. And they do a spell and an incantation to push the demon kind of back into Gerard's psyche. Like, back into Gerard's mind. Like, it's pushed back in.
Oh, wait. Okay.
So it's more of, like, Gerard again. Like, beginning, like, he can fight it off. Because as per part of the possession is you can kind of fight it off. Because it's kind of like, it goes into the conversation of how when Frank was being possessed by the spirit, there's kind of like two minds in there. And you could push one forward. There's one that's, like, battling to be in the forefront. And they kind of have the conversation of, like, because he's a priest, like, demons don't want to be in bodies. Especially not priests. So he's struggling in there. And so Gerard really has to fight him off. And so Gerard kind of comes back. And he's like, no, he's still in there. But, like, it's me right now. He's in there, but, like, it's... And it is, like, it isn't, like, a thing, but he's, like, they know that he's going to be exorcised the next morning. And they kind of have a moment where they're like, shit, I'm sorry, and shit. And so what ends up happening that night is Mikey and Ray go off to their own room, and Frank's like, oh, okay, I'm out of my room now, I guess. And he goes see Gerard. And Gerard is kind of distraught. And he's like, what's going on? And Gerard kind of has a moment where he's like, I didn't see anything when I died.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
And Ray's like,
Oh.
and Gerard's having a breakdown. And Gerard's like, I don't understand. I've devoted so much time. This is... I wish Bobby was here for this moment, because Bobby and I had a really deep conversation about this, because we're like, why couldn't Gerard stay an atheist at the end? Because Frank has like a weird turn in character here, where, and I understand it because he's trying to comfort Gerard in this moment, and he's like, he says to Gerard, he's like, no, and because Gerard's like, I don't think God is real. I think he's abandoned us. I don't think it's like I saw nothing. Like, Frank, I saw nothing. I was dead and I saw nothing. And Frank's like, shit, okay. And so he's like, well, if God and heaven and hell were real, you'd think that you would not remember it when you'd come back. Because if you came back after experiencing the best or the worst thing you'd ever have, let's say if you experienced the worst thing you'd ever have, you'd be afraid of dying for the rest of your life, because you know that would be there. But if you experience the best thing, you'd never be able to live a good life, because you had that. So Gerard's like, I guess. And he's like, it's just the demon trying to get you to believe in God. And Gerard's like, I guess. And like, it's like a weird turn of character for Frank to be like, no, God might be real and he's doing this, like, he's trying to protect you. But like, Gerard saw nothing. And he has a moment where they're kind of like holding on to each other, and he's like, hey, Frank, everything that Gerard said about you kind of being like me wanting to fuck real bad is right. And Frank's like, and they're kind of like, he's like, well, okay, tomorrow. And Frank's like, yeah. So they fuck. But it's disappointing. It's not even like they actually fuck. They just kind of rub up against each other for like a hot minute, and they both just kind of like, and like, it's kind of awkward. And Gerard, like, after it is kind of like, it's kind of like a moment where, like, Frank's really freaking out. He's like, shit, I wasted my one fuck before he dies, and it was bad. He's like, I can't show Gerard that I'm better than this. Like, it's kind of funny. But they end up, like, falling asleep together and, like, having kind of, like, this, like, moment, like, a somber moment where they're like, shit, you're probably gonna die tomorrow. And Mikey wakes him up the next morning, and he kind of finds them, in bed. And Frank's about to apologize, and Mikey's like, we wanted to give you as long as you could have. Just that line fucks me up. And so they take, it's a battle to get them. They gotta tie Gerard up, literally, so he doesn't leash out in the van. But they get Gerard to the nearest church where the cardinal is, after the cloaks, the hoods chase him, and the suits end up, like, being able to take care of the cloaks. The hoods. Why did I keep the cloaks? And they get Gerard into the church where they have, like, this huge cross for him to get exercised on. Everyone else, all hands on deck, except for the guys, are just kind of standing back because they're told to stand back, right?
I don't know why I find it so funny that they put Gerard just on a cross.
They just put him on a cross. They're gonna get him. They're holding him down, and he's getting exorcised. And their room catches on fire, like a big, like, fiery wall, because the demons, that. And it gets to a point near towards the end, Gerard's skin's, like, cracking where the thing on his neck was. Like, there's, like, he's really breaking, and Mikey looks at Frank, and he's like, he's not gonna make it. And Frank kind of looks at him, and they have a moment. Frank's like, oh, I get it. So they slam the cardinal out of the way and push the demon out. Like, Frank kind of gets off of him. And they have this conversation earlier where if you make a spirit uncomfortable enough to leave a body, it can change, like, host.
Okay.
Because it's it's uncomfortable in Gerard. But if they free Frank's body enough, they can, like, it'll push into Frank. And it kind of has an affinity for Frank. So they manage that. They push it into Frank, and they go to exercise Frank because his body is kind of like not as beaten down as Gerard's right now.
Mm-hmm.
And so they go to exercise Frank, and Frank's like, it's another interesting description. It isn't a lot like the Luke one, but it's a lot in that aspect of like he's going in and out of existence, he's hearing things, he's hearing like sounds of voices and people, like he's feeling this pressure in and out of him. And he wakes up in the hospital, kind of very groggy, like it is a cut to black, wake up in a hospital, and in the hospital the cardinal's there and he's talking to him, and Frank's like, I'm on the best fucking morphine of my life. He's like, oh, this shit's good.
Damn,
And
I kind of wish that would be
yeah. And so he's kind of like, you're gonna take Gerard away from me. And the cardinal's like, yeah, dude. And he's like, fuck you. He's like drugged out. He's like, yo, bro, I just want some dick. I just want that mad dick, bro. And like, he's not literally saying that, but he's like, oh, I want to keep him. And they're like, and the cardinal says something like, people can do good out of the church too. Like, you don't have to be like a part of what we're doing, as in like through Gerard, to be doing good. And Frank's like, fuck you. And he like mumbles, and he kind of like slips out of that consciousness, and he kind of slips into like a beach scene. And he's next to the cardinal on the beach. Like, it's kind of like clearly a dream.
Yeah.
It's described very clearly as a dream, and he's on the beach, and Ray is on a boat, and Gerard's building a sandcastle, and I think he's on the boat with him. They're just kind of out there. I think Bob's on a boat too. Like, they're all just kind of like vibing, right? Frank's like, why is Gerard building a sandcastle? The tides come in. And he says, and he's talking to the cardinal, just kind of like about, it's a very like quick conversation to just kind of be like in the moment. And he's like, Bob, something about like someone can't swim, and he's like, no, this person this, and this like Ray can't swim, but you are afraid of, like, you're claustrophobic. And he's like, no, you're right. Like, he's like having a moment, and then he kind of like slips out of that, and he's woken up in the hospital by Bob and Ray, who are both, and they're like, hey, you survived. He's like, yeah, where's the cardinal? They're like, okay. Anyway, he's like, well, where's Gerard? Where's Mikey? And they're like, Gerard's getting on a plane. He going to the Vatican. He needs to do Vatican things. And so, Escape from the Hospital 2, Electric Boogaloo. Get him out. A lot different this time, I guess. They just kind of like, shoop. Bob stays though, because he's on an IV right now. His leg's fucked up. It's been fucked. I think Brian's also fucked. Anyway, they escape to Electric Boogaloo, get to the airport, and Mikey's like, go talk to him. And he goes to talk to Gerard, and he's a moment where he's staring at him, and he's like, I gotta just let him go. And he's like, he lets him go. He's like, I know, I have to do this. So he lets him go, and he comes back, and Mikey's like, you fucking idiot, I set you to go bring him back. And Frank's like, but I can't. He's like, that's his destiny, I guess. I don't know, we all have fates. Fate. And they're all like, So, send him off, and then, they fast forward, they all go back home after this. They're all like, okay, I guess we're going home after this. Craig is adopting the two boys, because it's a big house and he's lonely. He's like, you know what, why not? These are nice. And they all go back, and Frank goes to stay with his mom, and Mikey's with they're going back to parent life, because they don't really have homes back in New Jersey because they sold everything and left. And he ends up going to church with his mom the one day after like sleeping for like a couple days and just kind of camping out. And all of the guys end up going to church because, of course, Gerard in their mind, I guess. And they all go to share cigarettes outside, clustered around a car like they're 14. And Brian's like, hey, can I show y'all something? And they're like, okay. So they go, and they drive to the old shop.
Mm-hmm.
Brian's like, so this is ours again. And they're like, what? And so it turns out Craig wanted a way to set it up that they could do this, like, fighting evil thing, but, like, through the shop.
Fight evil by moonlight, win love by daylight. They'll never run from a real fight.
What is this?
Sailor Moon.
Oh, okay. I'm like sitting here like, I don't know anything.
I know.
So they end up getting the deeds to the shop back, and they're starting a business where they're basically like fighting evil.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I know. Look, some of these things just make sense. And so they set it up. They're like, yeah, Craig's paying us. We have healthcare. For once, we finally have healthcare and dental. Frank's like, woo, healthcare. I never had that before. And so they, are getting funded to keep this up. Flash forward a little bit ahead. They're cleaning up the shop. They're fixing it up, just rearranging everything.
Mm-hmm.
As they're there, they have someone stop in. They kind of hear him, and it's Gerard. Surprise! He isn't wearing his collar.
Do priests have to wear collars all the time?
I don't know. But
Okay.
he's not wearing it. Well, he doesn't have to wear it all the time, but it's kind of like a signifier. And it turns out he kind of got, like, removed from position, but honorably, in the sense of he keeps his priest power, I guess, but he's no longer a priest.
He was honorably discharged.
Yeah, he was basically honorably discharged. There's, like, a certain term for it.
Sure.
But, yeah, he was honorably discharged, basically. He's like, so, yeah, I'm here if you'll take me. I want to work with y'all. They're like, yeah, of course. They're all hugging him, and they kind of give him and Gerard and Frank a moment.
Mm-hmm.
And at first, Frank's a little angry, because Frank's always a little angry.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, all this bullshit, fuck you. And so they end up kind of like angry kissing. And they keep kissing.
Do they fuck in the shop?
No, they don't fuck in the shop. They
Okay.
leave. They kind of like run off to his old, like, his Frank's house because his mom is out. She'll be out all day. And so he's like,
Is
he's
Frank
like-
just staying in his childhood bedroom? Because I find
yes,
that funny.
yes, he is. And there's even comment. He's like, at least my mom didn't turn it into like a shrine of me. It's there.
It's a normal room.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cue about 10,000 words of them fucking. It keeps going on. I want you to know
10,000
it's
words?
a lot of the. It's like it keeps going. They keep fucking. It's like a long. See. In all fairness, I have also.
We're only at 120. I mean,
Okay, we have 10 minutes. Thank God. There's a bit more to fix. Just tie up loose ends. They keep
fucking.
fucking. They keep. When you think they're done, they're not done. They keep fucking.
It's like the ending of Cats.
It's like the ending of Cats. The moment you think it's over, it's not over. I want you to know.
Judi Dench just keeps looking at you.
This is an entire Judi Dench staring at you, right? I want you to know that as I'm re-listening to this section, you remember when I was rearranging the posters in my room the other day? This is what was playing in my headphones. And I'm just like tacking up posters. I'm like, cocks. Like, it's...
Sticks.
Sticks. And it's come out where it's like, Gerard has clearly not done this in many years.
Jesus fuck.
He's a horny little virgin. No, he's not a virgin, but he's a horny little bastard. They kind of talk about Frank's scars.
Mm-hmm.
Frank's a little self-conscious about them, of course, but, it's one of those classic fanfiction moments where it's like, I love you for all your scars. I love you for everything that you are and everything you will be. And I'm like, I love this song. So they fuck a ton, and then they get a call from the guys. They're like, hey, where'd you go? And they're like, oh, out. We're good, though. Don't mind us. Flash forward, Mikey's using his powers because there's a chick nearby who's getting visions of Mary. And they go meet up with her, and she ends up, like, starting to come into the shop. And the shop is, like, established now. It is a thing. I would say, I think this is, like, a year ahead. I don't remember if it establishes it, but it's, like...
So is it, like, a full-on, just, like, demon, ghost, whatever...
Like fighting, like,
yeah.
spirits, like, researching, like, religious kind of things.
Okay.
And so, at this point, you find out that, you know, Frank's like, hey, George, it's, like, a Friday night. He's like, babe, can you not bring home books? And he's like, what if I do, though? And so, he's like, no. And he's like, all right. And they go home. They live together now.
Mm-hmm.
They have, like, a little apartment. They fuck. Because, of course, they do.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? This very much, like, the best way to describe this is, I don't know if you've ever read fics where it's, like, a slow burn, and they're like, I'm sorry it was such a slow burn. Here's, like, a ton of fucking.
I mean, yeah.
You know what I mean?
No,
That's what
yeah.
it feels like.
No, yeah, I know.
Yeah. So that's kind of like what this moment is, and you're like, all right, they're fucking again, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But it's one of those, like, domestic moments, and then they, like...
Domesticity, I fucking
Domesticity.
Domesticity is my hand holding.
Yeah. No, I understand. So it's like this is a good another, like, 10,000 words of just domesticity.
Thank God.
Where they're just kind of like, they like sit together, you know, they watch shitty TV, they're eating dinner, they're holding hands,
Ugh.
they end up going to bed. After Gerard rubs balm on Frank's, like, Frank's scars, like, it's like a sweet moment. And then Frank has a nightmare. He wakes up from the nightmare, and Gerard is not next to him in bed. He's reading on the couch, and he's like, babe, can you not do that? And Gerard's like, I'm sorry, baby. And he ends up, like, getting in bed with him, and he's like, I'm sorry. I like reading. And Frank's like, babe, please. And then they just, like, fall asleep. Together. Happy together.
Is that the end?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
They're in love. They stay in love. They got the shop. And then the little, like, 8,000 word, like, offset.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because I can describe, like, the little snippet after that is, basically it's just a breakdown of them, it's a domestic, like, fluff.
Oh.
8,000 words, of Frank buys Gerard a little nightlight so he can read in the room. Well, they fuck in this one again. But before they fuck, they end up running. You remember how Gerard had the one chick who he got his youth group taken away from him because he helped her get an abortion after her uncle raped her and, like, all that kind of stuff. They end up running into her at the store, and he's like, Gerard's like, oh, it's you. She's like, Father, wait. He's like, it's not Father anymore. And she's like, ah. And he's like, it's okay. It's boyfriend. And she's like, oh, good for you. She's like, oh, thank God. Like, and it's just kind of like a sweet, like, 8,000 word little offshoot where it's like, no, they're happy together and they're making, and it's kind of like clear, like, not everything is perfect because relationships are never perfect, but they're really working at it, and it's like good. That's it.
I'll read, like, the last 30,000 words of this, but
Yeah.
I won't read the rest of it.
You're gonna read them smashing. Skip over that.
Yeah, I might. I'm just gonna read the domestic parts. and
Yeah,
vibe.
like, just vibe for it. It's really, like, as someone who, like, I've a good 5 minutes I can talk here. As someone, I'm not gonna talk for 5 minutes, but as someone who writes fics, I find myself very often after having, like, a lot of, like, angst and a lot, like, I don't write slow burns. I'll write, like, a 30,000 word slow burn, but I will never write, like, a 200,000 word slow burn. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I can't do that, but, just, I don't have the strength.
Mhm.
But, like, I have the tendency where I'm like, if I drag it on for a while, I'm like, you get a little smut at the end. Because I feel bad, you know? I feel guilty, or here's them making out for the next 20,000 words. Please enjoy. I have a fic where it's like, I'm so sorry this all happened. Anyway, they're in love and they're gonna get married. Like, I have a very Victorian fic.
I know.
I
know.
Yeah.
I just really don't like slow burns. I don't.
No, you're valid.
I just don't.
I kind of like him, but like that's because I'm dumb. That's because I can't communicate with other people, and I think it's neat when other people can't either. Cause I'm like, ha ha ha, I do that, and then it drags on for years.
Yeah. No, I know. I've noticed something, like, to change the subject absolutely completely.
Yeah.
I've noticed that, like, I started to, like, you don't know this, but, like, a few years ago, I wouldn't be able to, like, I would, like, laugh, like, quietly, you know?
Mhm.
Like, not even just, like,
I'm listening. I'm just putting my laptop on.
Yeah.
Continue. Yeah.
but just, like, you know people who, like, laugh without laughing?
Like,
No. Just, like, very, like... Anyway, I'm able to, like, laugh out loud now.
no, yeah, that
And
makes
I find
sense.
I find that nice. I find that nice. That's nice development for me.
Character development. I enjoy it. I think I've only known you laughing out loud.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I haven't known, like,
No.
in the grand scheme of people.
You've only known
knowing-
me for, like, barely a year.
Yeah.
No, barely half a year.
Oh my god. No, it's been a little longer. August.
Oh.
I mean, if you want to include when we got roommate assignments, it was during the summer. It was, like, early August.
Okay, so, like, half a year. Like, over,
Yeah.
a little bit over half a year.
Over a half a year. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just means I'm comfortable with you guys.
Aw. I think that's neat.
I think that's neat,
I
too!
think it's neat. Oh, good way to end this episode, honestly. You laugh. It's good. You have a good laugh.
It's just me scream laugh.
It's okay, at least you aren't like me when I'm just like like I sound like a little gremlin, like
You sound like a gnome.
I'm the gnome. Okay, we gotta go.
Bye!
Goodbye, everyone. Thank you for listening. Split.
Split, yeah.